Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Jupiter's Crock here on the Outpost Unknown YouTube channel. I'm not going to try to do some fancy intro because I fucked it up on the last episode. So I'm joined once again by Plodicus himself, Steve.
Yep, I am still here.
And down there in Tennessee, a state known for having no incest whatsoever, is Ronan.
No, we all the incest jokes, we make that about Arkansas. Like that's where all that comes from. It's well known here in the South when you make an incest joke,
Who's at the bottom of that list?
You then turn it into Arkansas, and then everybody laughs.
But I assume Arkansas then does the same thing. Does it just like bottleneck Kentucky, and Kentucky's like, shit, we don't have any place to go with this. I guess we're the incest king.
I almost want to Google which state has the most incest, but I feel like I'll end up on a watch list.
Do
or
it.
something.
No, open up an
Do it for the content.
Yeah, open up an a private browser tab. The way you're supposed to. Don't you know anything about these kind of searches, Matt?
That doesn't work.
I mean, that
100% works.
Fuck it.
I'm just Googling it.
All right, I was going to do it, but I trust
Matt. Most incest? Okay, I'm doing it. Which state has the most?
It works 20% of the time, 100% of the time, Matt.
Has the most incest.
Tell me
okay, I've now officially become on a list here. Okay, there's no AI answer for it on Google, so that's fine. Okay.
Oh, God.
All right, which state has the highest incest rate? Incest is a sexual relationship between closely related people, blah, blah. This is illegal in 48 out of the 50 states. In New Jersey and Rhode Island, it's not a crime between...
I was just about to say, what states is it okay in? Jesus Christ.
Okay. Oh, here we go. According to reports, Florida has the highest incest rate in the country. The second highest rate is in the state of Alaska.
Somehow those two states make perfect sense.
Florida makes perfect sense. I'm a little shocked by Alaska, I guess.
Well, Alaska, it's like it's so vast and there's so nothing to do. You might as well fuck.
Yeah, I assume like in Florida it's too hot to go outside, and so you sit at home and fuck your cousin. And in Alaska it's too cold to go outside, and so you sit at home and fuck your cousin.
Yeah, this makes perfect sense to us, the Southerners. We understand this, Matt. I don't get why you're making such a big deal out of this.
So, anyways, this episode
you guys
starts.
Know more about incest than I do.
Shut up. We're moving on. The bit is over. We are talking about episode 10, season 1 Rome, called Triumph. This episode starts with Cicero and Brutus.
Listeners out there, go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT about incest. I want to know what it says.
Tell them Ronan sent you. Cicero and Brutus are in the Senate, apparently a new Senate, because remember Octavian suggested that you get a bunch of new senators in, and they're having a conversation before all the other people show up, and basically Caesar is about to be confirmed as dictator, and Cicero is like, this is stupid bullshit. Like, I'm gonna do this because I don't have a choice, but as soon as this is over, I'm going to go and, I'm just going to retire to the countryside and be a farmer. And Brutus is like, no, Brutus is trying to justify his actions to himself. Like, he knows that all of this is wrong. As we talked about previously, like, his mom is pushing him to rebel against Caesar. But he is trying to tell himself that he did the honorable thing. So he's trying to, justify this to Cicero. It's like, we did the honorable thing. And Cicero retorts, if we were honorable, we would be dead like Cato and Scipio right now. But in comes Caesar, and in comes all the other senators, and Cicero is made to give a speech, and it's very clear he does not want to give the speech, but he's basically saying, I super pinky swear promise that the right move for us is to make Caesar emperor. And he sits down, and Brutus stands up, and he's like, he tries to crack a joke, like, Caesar and I have had our misunderstandings with each other. But I also super pinky swear promise that Caesar should be made, dictator, emperor for life, or whatever. And so the motion is passed. Everyone claps. Caesar is now the imperator, or whatever the phrase.
Dictator.
They call him something else, though, don't they? I thought Imperator, but maybe I'm wrong.
The pop-up video sort of thing on the Blu-ray said something that was, I guess, I didn't notice at first until I actually saw it. When Caesar walks in with his cohorts and Mark Antony and all that, there's technically 2 consuls in Rome, but Caesar's people go and they take the second chair and they completely remove it from the building. And according to the HBO sort of pop-up video thing, it said that was I don't know, this must be historically documented that this happened, because that was the moment when the senators that were in there realized he's never going to give up power, because that was like symbolically saying the second consul is no more. You're going to answer to me now.
Yep. So Caesar's dictator, and he gives a speech, and he says, the war's over. Many of you were once my enemy, but now we're friends. Support me, and there will be no problems. Don't support me, and you will not get forgiveness again. So we talked about this last episode.
Yeah.
It's Caesar is going to be like, you can be friends with Caesar, but as soon as you challenge him, you're going to die. He's going to kill you. So that's what we got going on with Caesar. We see Varenus. He is... so I thought, when I first saw the previous episode, I thought that Caesar was just like, hey, you're the magistrate now. But apparently, Varenus is going to be made to go through an election, because he's giving basically a campaign speech. Later on, he's trying to learn the law with the bookkeeper guy, Pasca. And Varenus is like, what's the point of this? Like, shouldn't I wait and focus on learning this after the election? Like, it's pointless for me to learn this now if I don't even make it. And Pasca's like, really? Are you that fucking
Oh, you
stupid?
fool.
You've already won, Renus.
Yeah.
Come on.
He's basically like,
Vote early, vote often.
the people that you're running against are straw men. They're just there to basically give the illusion of choice to people. You're the magistrate. You have won the election. And Varenus continues to be plagued by his conscience. He's like, the fucking gods sanctioned this election. We can't rig it. And bookkeeper's response is, well, the gods sanctioned Caesar. And so if Caesar says this is the way we're doing it, then this is the way we're doing it. And so
Some such and such opium of the masses, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's yes.
So let me ask you guys something real quick here.
Okay.
Varenus obviously is a man of principle. He's got values. He is struggling with this whole Caesar thing. If either one of you were Varenus and Caesar came to your house and was like, I want you to do this, you're going to basically... You find out this whole thing's a scam. Varenus is like, man, this goes against the gods. He even mentions that, and there's like, the elections are sanctioned by whichever god. I forget what he said. Would you do it? Knowing that basically you're dead if you don't do it. Something's probably going to happen to your family. But on principle, do you feel like Varenus is kind of... I don't know, just compromising his own principles and morality here by going through with this? Or would you guys do it if you were in this situation? I guess is what I'm asking.
I believe Varenus at this point thinks that okay, you know what? I can change the rules from the inside. He has that naive, just so a sweet and charitable viewpoint. Yeah, I can't make changes unless I'm from within. He's one of those.
Got that? He's thinking that right now?
But I'm just making assumptions because we don't really... currently, we have not been given a track into his mind as to why he's decided to do this. They cut that part out of the last episode. So I'm just working with what I've got here. Right here is that he seems Caesar, he thinks he can at the very least be some sort of well, I have the power to voice opinion against him. So I think he's got that mindset. Now, if it were me, what's the other half of this question? Currently, I'm in my dark character arc from everything that's happened. So fuck yeah, I go along with this. It's oh whatever. This is all bullshit. It's all a lie. None of this matters. Fuck it. Get while the getting's good. That would be what I would do. Steve,
okay.
What are your thoughts?
yeah, as far as Varenus goes, I think Varenus is trying and failing to be an optimist, because he in the last episode he told Caesar, no, I do not want to be your magistrate because you're a dictator. And then Caesar said, I I'm going to give up my dictator powers. And Vernus and Niobe, look, Niobe wants their family to be secure. Niobe wants their family to have money. Because even Niobe was like, maybe you should have killed that guy for Rastus Fulman like 17 years ago. So I think he's doing it for his family, knowing it's wrong, but he's clinging to that little bit of hope that maybe Caesar is telling him the truth. But I agree with Rona. I also would have done this at this point, because fuck it, everything's awful.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah, Steve.
All right, continue.
All right, so yeah, that's what's going on with Verinus. He's having all sorts of struggles with being the winner of a bogus election. Octavia has become a cutter, which kind of came out of nowhere. There's just a scene of her, just like hard cut to her sitting in a floor, like cutting her arms, and Octavia,
a series of cut marks, like from where she has been doing this, like, healed up scars.
Yeah, so it's another good idea that, like, time has passed. How much time? I have no fucking idea. Long enough for Adia to have, like, fresh cuts that have healed and become scars on her arms. Anyway, or Octavia. I think I said Adia. I don't know.
Yeah.
Octavia,
In fairness, it can't have been that long, because the last episode they were talking about, we got to plan this big celebration. So I would say maybe a month or two, couple of months, maybe, if that.
Anyways, Octavia, like, went to some, like, religious retreat, and I think like, there's a scene where
Big mistake,
Adia,
always a mistake.
Adia goes to Cervelia, and like, look, they both know that each other is like their enemy, but they have to keep appearances. So Adia is like, "Oh, Cervelia, I'm so terribly sorry for what happened to you." And I don't think we mentioned this in the last episode, but after Cervelia gets assaulted, like, Adia's worker, like Timon, like the guy that set all this up, like, apparently, like, grows a conscience because he gets, like, a sad look on his face. So I assume he's going to have some face turn later on.
He mentions, before that happens, he mentions something about the Jewish people or something. And I think, like, this is where Timon is basically becoming more religious, and he realizes what he's doing for these people is not honorable with God.
Yeah, so he's going to have a face turn, but Adia goes to basically fuck with Cervelia, and Cervelia mentions, I heard Octavia has left the city. I hope everything's okay. And Adia's like, oh yeah, she found a boy that she likes. Cut to, she's sitting in a floor cutting herself. So then Octavian goes in, and he's like, hey, come on, we're going home. And Octavia says, no, this is where I want to be.
I take what I want. I'm a man now.
And Octavia is like, look, Caesar's having a triumph. You're coming home. I will take you home if I have to. By the way, all these religious people, I paid them off, so they're on my side now. So Octavia,
yeah, well, she makes this line about how the priest will protect me. He's like, I paid them off for very little, mind you. It's just to rub salt in that wound.
Yep. Octavia is not having a good life. But Octavian is going to bring her home. And so now it's setting up things for the triumph. Everyone is going to attend the triumph. Caesar has kept the king of the Gauls in Roman prison for 3 million years at this point, or however long, like, episode 1 of the show happened to go.
However many years happened in Roman time frame.
The eons and eons that have happened between episode 1 of Rome and episode 10 of Rome. This guy has been in a Roman dungeon somewhere, and so Caesar brings him out and has him be cleaned up, and so he's going to be executed at the triumph. And Adia went to Cervelia and was like, "Oh, come sit with me at the triumph," and that's what led to that scene. There's going to be like a military parade or something. Like, all of the members of the Roman army are going to march in support of this triumph, and Titus Pullo goes up to them and it says, "Hey, loan me a crest so I can march with you." And he has a big fight with the soldiers, because Pullo left the army, and only active soldiers get to march, and so he is very pissed off that the actual Roman soldiers are not letting him join. So this is
the dude's like, "Hey, join up, man. serve a few more years, and we'll be happy to have you
it's
in
like,
here.
look, he's following the rules. It's like active soldiers only. If you want to rejoin the military, then absolutely, we'll give you a uniform. But Pullo is expecting special treatment, and so he's sent away. Titus Pullo's heel turn becomes complete in this episode, but we'll get there. So he is just. Pullo continues to be distraught, like he's lost his friend. His Varinus has gone Hollywood. He's this big shot politician. Pullo has nothing. Let's go ahead and just talk about what Pullo does. So Pullo has nothing. He's losing his friend. Varinus is too busy for him. He, as far as I know, like lives under Varinus' staircase or something. I have no idea like what Pullo does in his life because he quit being a soldier. He worked at Niobe's butcher shop for like a day, and now we see him just doing nothing. So he goes to Varinus and he says, "Look, I want to marry Irini, but I'm poor. I didn't save all of my butcher money, all
that money that Caesar gave him."
This is weird. Like, Pullo needs Varinus to loan Pullo money to free Varinus' slave. Like, why can't Varinus just be like, oh yeah, just take her? Like, I guess I don't know how slave ownership worked in ancient Rome.
Because he can't marry her if she's a slave, and because technically Varinus, finger quotes, owns her, he needs to get permission. It's actually very similar to marriage today, where you're supposed to get permission from the father before you can, claim the daughter. It's similar to that, but so it's like, but he has to get permission.
I don't think it's exactly
that. If you want to free a slave, you don't give money to the slave owner. You give money to like the Roman bureaucracy. Like, that's what I didn't get. Like, why did Varinus have to pay to free his own slave?
All the TV shows on slavery, on Roman history, or any show that we've watched that's happened in Rome, it always how slaves can become free seems to be the way it's always implied is that, okay, well, I have a finger quote value. I can save up the pennies of space bucks that I'm given, and eventually I can buy my freedom from my master. I don't know, where it comes in from. Where I guess if someone else is is a transfer of owner. I don't know. I just don't know enough about how Romans handle this.
Thing. I think it's some sort of tax. Like if you sell your house, you're going to have to pay tax to the state. Okay. Like you just have to do that. I think it's a tax issue.
Oh, whatever happens, there's just a weird Varinus has to go with Pullo to pay to free Varinus' own slave, and they're successful. And so Pullo goes back to Irini. It's like, Irini, I've set you free. Yay! Come on, let's go. And then this random male slave. Yeah,
we've never seen before.
Yeah, I was about to say, have we ever seen this guy before? But
he's probably been in the background of these shots. I'll give credit, but he's just been a background extra at best. But it turns out that he's had a purpose. I'm going to assume he's been in the background somewhere.
All right. Well, this random male slave comes up to Pullo, and he's like, "Oh, thank you so much. Now Irini and I can go get married." And Pullo's like, "The fuck you say?" Like, oh yeah,
we've been married in our hearts, but now we can actually get married.
I'm Irini's boyfriend. I've been here the whole time, and Pullo freaks out and he murders this guy.
Murders the shit out of him.
Yeah, just bashes his head against the wall. He is dead, and so now Niobe and Irini are Niobe is trying to comfort Irini, and Irini is screaming and crying, and Varinus is going to Pullo what the fuck have you done? You have shamed my house. You murdered a man in front of my children. Get the fuck out and don't come back. Our friendship is over. And Pullo tries to defend himself a little bit, be like, oh yeah, you sold out to Caesar. You used to think that Caesar was a traitor and a monster. Now here you are with your shiny white toga and your
hell yeah, full house. Sorry.
Nice. You've you have turned on everything that you believe in, and so they have, and Verinus is about to fight Pullo, but Pullo won't fight him, and so Verinus tells him just leave.
No, it's the opposite. Verinus won't fight him. Pullo was pushing him. Verinus is like, I won't fight you.
No, it wasn't.
Verinus puts the dukes up, and Pullo's like, I'm not gonna fight you.
I thought it was the other way. All right, never mind.
Pay attention. Pay closer attention.
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The one thing that was holding my interest in this show is now gone. You're going to be fucking lucky if I remember anything in the next 2 episodes, Matt.
Yeah, Verinus is reaching back, and he won't fight because Pullo continues to just sit down looking sad. If Pullo had stood up, Verinus would have tried and probably failed to knock him out.
Yeah, I was like, who wins that fight?
Pullo, 100%.
In terms of sheer raw brute force, it's Pullo. But in terms of who's smarter in a battle, I would say Verinus. He's more he would know better proper technique. Pullo's approach has always just been bash. So, but that's nerd talk.
I feel like this is going to be the point where Pullo's going to go down into the pit, or we're going to get our pit episode or something coming up.
We are not. The show doesn't have money for that or the will to do that.
Okay. I have seen the following episode, so Ronan, don't take that bet against Matt. Is all I'm saying. Anyways, so the friendship is over. Verinus tells Pullo to leave and don't ever come back. You have shamed my house. The next time we see Pullo in this episode, he's trying to slowly drink himself to death. And Erastus Fullman comes in and says, "Hey, I got a job for you. Just come and find me." And so, presumably Pullo is going to become an assassin for Erastus Fullman, like he tried to make Verinus into previously. Is there anything else we missed before we need to talk about the Triumph? I think this is around the point where Quintus shows up to Servilia's house. It could have happened in the last episode. I don't remember. I'm
pretty sure that happened in the last episode because this one is the one where those flyers get sent out and they put Brutus's name on them.
Yeah. Quintus showed up in the last episode. He's also in this one.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. Yeah, I watch these back to back, and I lose track. But anyways, speaking of that,
so did I.
Brutus is just walking around town, and Cicero's like, "Hey, Brutus, you should have fucking told me you were gonna do this." And Brutus is like, "What do you mean? What happened?" And Cicero shows him a poster or a scroll with Brutus's name signed at the bottom, where it's Caesar's a stupid dumbhead and he should not be emperor. And Brutus is like, what the fuck? I cannot have this happen. And so he goes to his mom's house, and Quintus and another guy I think named Cassius is there, and it's very clear that they have been conspiring. And I love the actor that plays Brutus. I love his facial expression where he's trying to be "Oh, I'm so glad you're here," but you could tell he is just fucking seething inside that this is happening. I love this guy, but he's like, "Oh yeah, it's been too long. Indeed. You'll forgive me if I have a private moment with my mom, not like an Octavian private moment, but just like a normal private moment,
not in a Florida type way, but."
So he goes to have a talk with his mom, and he's like, "What the fuck have you done? This note that you've plastered all around the city, you're going to get us killed." And he has a talk with her about, would you have preferred that I just committed suicide? And she's like, no, I don't want you to commit suicide. I do want you to stand up to Caesar. And so, as we said before, Brutus is being pushed to fight back against Caesar, but at the moment he is not willing to do that. He immediately goes to Caesar and is like, "Look, I didn't do this, right, bro? Yeah, here's this note. It's got my name on the bottom. I did not sign this. This is not my note." So Caesar's, I trust you. We're the best of friends, and Brutus says, "I just want to make sure that we're both clear on where we stand." And Caesar's like, "Where do we stand?
Cool?"
This is another thing where Caesar is being benevolent, but you say the wrong thing, and he's gonna get you. 'Cause he's like, "Where do we stand exactly?" And so he's forcing Brutus to like recommit to him.
Well, also, there was also another underline where he looks at Bruce like, I wonder who did put this out. Do you have any ideas on it? Where there's a clear underlying threat in that aspect of it too. So it's like where I think Caesar is suspecting his mom because Caesar is like smarter than the average bear, but he's trying to get Brutus to go along with it.
The pop-up video for this moment said that for a year before Caesar's assassination.
Oh, God damn it! There was another time jump. Fuck this show.
No. Well, no. I'm just saying for a year before his assassination, Caesar was aware that there were people trying to kill him.
Oh,
so,
okay.
I'm just giving you context. Don't yell at me. Jesus.
I was yelling at the show, not you.
Go ahead, Steve.
All right, so I think it's time to talk
attacked.
about. I think it's time to talk about the triumph, and so the triumph is just an acknowledgement of Caesar becoming the big man. There's like the I don't know what's called, like the crier, the guy like sharing the news with the masses, like has this big speech where he's like, Caesar is going to invite 5,000 of you to this formal dinner. 20,000 families are going to get their own farms. Taxes and property costs for the low wage people will be waived for a year. You know, basically, like Caesar is just buying all of this goodwill among the people. Octavian comes in and like paints Caesar's face. Right there's a moment I really liked between Caesar and Mark Antony. And Mark Antony has not had a happy look on his face, for many episodes. Like he is over Caesar's shit, and he is struggling to keep that to himself because he sees Caesar like trying to dress up, and Mark Antony keeps like chuckling, and Caesar's like, what do you find so funny? And Mark Antony says like, isn't this a little much, like pretending to be a god? And Caesar like very sternly is like, pretending?
I'm not pretending.
What are you talking about? And Mark Antony's like, okay, got it. Like, so Mark Antony immediately like backs off. He's like, all right, Caesar thinks he's actually a god now. So Octavian paints Caesar's face red. They get to the triumph. They bring out the king of the Gauls. He's been sitting in a Roman dungeon for at least like three universes worth of Big Bangs and the end of the universe and the restart of a subsequent parallel universe. He's been in the Roman dungeon for a long time. He gets put into some, like, I don't know what this machine is, but some sort of, like, very fancy strangulation
It looked
machine.
like a bizarre jigsaw kind of thing. Yeah, I expected it to do more than what it did.
He's getting strangled, but he's not hung. Like, he is tied to a pole, and there's a hole in the pole that you put a rope through. That rope gets tied around the King of the Gauls' neck, and it gets pulled from the other side. He gets strangled. He gets strangled in a very like unnecessarily elaborate way. He dies, and that's the beginning of the festivities. Later on, you see his corpse like just thrown outside the walls of Rome, and some random Gauls that happen to be in the area like find his body.
I think they were just slaves who snuck out for the night or something.
All right,
Yeah, they were clearly Gauls who knew who he was.
Yeah, so their Gauls sneak out, grab his body, and give him like a proper like funeral pyre.
That was a cool scene. I like that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of it. Is there anything else we missed? Like, King of the Gauls is dead. Varenus is going to win his fake election. Caesar has been properly inducted as new God Emperor of Rome. Like, what else do we need to talk about this episode?
Nothing.
Okay.
I don't think anything else really happened this episode. Ronan, your thoughts on this one?
This is another meh episode because again, like the bromance is over, so now I don't really have anything to look forward to in the next two episodes. I suppose there could be some kind of a reconciliation, but you know, now I've just lost all faith. Like I don't like anybody.
This is another episode, by the way, where Egypt is not mentioned once. So
they just moved on.
We still have. I mean, that's going to become a big deal going forward. Egypt is, but yeah, they just completely sidestepped it. This was probably the second worst episode of the season for me. I can't remember what that episode was a few episodes back. We're like, this just wasn't very good. Because it just felt like, number one, so rushed, but not much moves forward with this. Like, we already knew Caesar was going to have his triumph and, basically believe that he's a god and stuff. But nothing else really happens this episode to move the story forward at all. I mean, you have the stuff with Pullo, but he was already on his downward descent. So, I don't know. I just felt like, I don't want to say this was a filler episode, but it felt kind of fillery to me. I don't know, Steve, what'd you think?
No, I agree. Like, I thought the last episode was just a setup episode that doesn't accomplish a whole lot on its own. This, I kind of feel the same way. Like, this, it paid off what was in the last episode, because the last episode was talking about all the things they're going to go into Caesar's, like, triumph and his, just, I don't know, him ascending to the throne. And that happened here, but then the rest of it's just more setup. Like, there's not, like, previous setup episodes have, like, led to something satisfying. This was like a setup episode leading to a setup episode, etc., etc. I don't know. I'm not explaining this well, but nothing happened. Like, we knew Caesar was going to become the emperor. And in this episode, he became emperor, and so I'm kind of like, okay, and then what? Like,
this seems to be like in the previous episodes when there was a setup, we didn't know what the outcome was going to be in the immediate near term. So it was like, okay, you're setting up and I don't know what's going on. This one, we all know where this is going, right? We know that Caesar's going to be assassinated. Everybody knows that. And so it feels like both of these episodes have been, okay, how do we, as fast as humanly possible, push Brutus to et tu, Brute, that sort of YouTube Brutus moment. And the Brutus stuff is probably the most interesting stuff of both of these episodes, but there's just not a ton of it. And so the rest of it just feels like you could have chopped this episode, or combined. You could have combined this episode and last episode, and had one fewer episode in the season, and it would have been fine, in my opinion.
Agreed. 100%.
Ronan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't. I don't have strong thoughts one way or the other towards this episode. This is the point where I begin to check out again. Because I mentioned before, I don't outside of Varenus and Titus, I don't really care or like any of these characters. They haven't endeared themselves to me in any way. So now I'm just dealing with people whom I don't like or care about. And in some fairness, Titus's heel turn was kind of inevitable. He's always been a stupid brute who's just kind of clung on to somebody smarter than him to tell him what to do. You saw that when he was training, what's his name, Octavian? When he would, because Octavian hey, let's go down to the sewers and torture this guy, and Titus sure, let's do. So he was always kind of destined to do this, just follow somebody telling him what to do. So I think this was in hindsight the only way his character could have ended up, but it's still no, I don't like this, and I know Caesar's going to get stabbed, so I don't care. I'm back to a I don't give a fuck about this episode stance.
Okay. Well, we're about to go all in on the last hand here, so we have to talk about something for a little bit longer, at least one last hand. Our next episode is going to be called The Spoils. I'm going to read the synopsis here on my Blu-ray. It says, while Pullo descends into Rome's netherworld, Varenus reaps the rewards of his allegiance to Caesar. So that's what we have to look forward to.
I've watched the next episode already. Does he reap the rewards? I don't know if I trust that synopsis.
Okay. We shall see. But I'm about ready to go all in blind.
As am I. And people are leaving. No, don't leave now. This is when we win big, get our money back. I have busted out at least once, maybe twice. I have not been paying any attention to poker this recording session.
I haven't busted out at all yet.
No.
That all changes now.
Yeah, I'm actually up. Well, the last one I won, right?
I think so. No, I won the one before that. So it's
why
will
won't it
Ronan get his redemption?
Spoilers. No.
Why did it make me just raise 500? I tried to go all in and it wasn't.
Yeah, I've had to do that a couple of times too. Where you click all in, but then you have. I think it's when you have more chips than the other guy. Their all in isn't your all in or something.
Okay.
I don't
well,
know poker. You guys know the rules of poker. I don't.
I'll keep hitting all in until it finally lets me do it. Maybe it's because I have so many more chips or something.
It's exactly what Ronan just said.
Okay. Well, all right. You're probably right, Ronan. Is this guy make a decision? Come on,
Sir,
go all in.
are you? No, he's not going to make a decision.
Okay, there we go.
Skinny Billy Butcher over there needed more time to think. Good, yes, join one of the
2, 3, Ace King. No, Jack. Wow. Oh, I just need
Queen
8.
Jack.
8s are the only thing that can help me here.
Give me queens. Give me queens.
Well, I'm just gonna sit here and be sad.
Jack,
Come on, give me an 8. I need an 8. That's not an 8.
Oh God.
Full house. Oh, I think
3
Matt and I both
5s
have
on
full
there.
houses. Wait.
Did we both get it?
It says side pot full house.
Yeah, I think
I won
I
a
think
bunch.
you and I split a full house.
Oh, good job, Steve.
Fuck Ronan.
As long as Ronan lost. Yeah.
That's it.
And that's
We're
it.
done, everyone. Thanks for watching another middling episode of Jupiter's Crock. We'll be back in 2 weeks with episode 11, The Spoils.